Action! Cut! Fantastic!
Muito antes da primeira versão live action de Resident Evil ser lançada em 2002, George Romero, o pai dos zumbis no cinema, havia sido convidado pela Capcom para dirigir a adaptação do famoso jogo. O lendário cineasta chegou a dirigir o trailer do jogo Resident Evil 2 e escreveu algumas versões do roteiro para o longa. Porém, após um imbróglio que se arrastou por meses, ele foi desligado do projeto pela produtora Constantine. Romero sequer foi comunicado oficialmente da decisão e só ficou sabendo que estava fora do filme por meio da imprensa. Surgindo então a oportunidade para que o diretor Paul W. S. Anderson, que havia dirigido a primeira adaptação do jogo Mortal Kombat, trouxesse a sua versão da história de Resident Evil.
Eu não sei se quero me lembrar do que aconteceu aqui.
Quando um vírus letal que transforma humanos em zumbis contamina um laboratório de pesquisa secreto, um grupo de mercenários é enviado até o local para conter os danos e descobrir o que realmente aconteceu, onde eles encontram uma mulher que perdeu a memória e que pode ter conexões com uma conspiração muito maior. Adaptações de jogos para o cinema até hoje se mostraram um complexo desafio, onde não basta apenas copiar a história e os cenários, mas sendo necessário traduzir sua linguagem para uma dinâmica completamente diferente. E foi essa diferença de mídias que levou o diretor a optar por contar uma história paralela à dos games.
Checkmate.
The first game has a set of characters, and then the sequel actually follows a completely different set of characters in a different location. You know, they're not in a mansion in the woods anymore, they're in a nearby city, Raccoon City, which is all abandoned. When you look at all the games taken together, you know, it was a really wide range of characters in different locations following different storylines. And that kind of made an adaptation extra challenging because, you know, if you go and do an adaptation of Resident Evil 1, you risk alienating all the people who love Resident Evil 2 and the characters from Resident Evil 2. So if you're watching a straight adaptation of Resident Evil 1, the game, there's no suspense. You know who's going to live, who's going to die, you know what the story is. And I felt that would make a very unsatisfying adaptation because why not just go and play the game again? The idea I came up with was to do a prequel. In the very first game, you go into the woods and there's a mansion, and below it is a high-tech research facility. And it's all overrun with undead and mutants and creatures, but it's never really explained what's happened. You know, the backstory to that is never really explained. And that's what the movie does, is the movie kind of is the lead-up, is the prequel to the very first game. And in that way, it stays very true to the universe of the game, and it also expands upon that universe. So in a way, it's almost like another game. And that was our approach, was to try and develop the movie as though it were just another Resident Evil game.
E de quebra, criar uma nova protagonista que estaria presente em todos os filmes futuros da franquia.
Eu não me lembro da verdade.
E que seria contestada por boa parte dos fãs dos games, não tanto por Milla Jovovich ser esposa do diretor, mas por Alice ter ofuscado de forma intencional todos os outros personagens dos jogos.
The games have certain archetypes of characters. You know, they quite often focus on very, very strong female characters, young female characters. And that's why the movie focuses on Milla and Michelle Rodriguez, you know, and they are playing archetypes from the game, there's no doubt about that. Milla's not called Jill Valentine, but in her mind and in my mind, that's what she was playing. She was absolutely playing that kind of character.
Alice pretty much is born for the first time when this movie starts. She loses her memory and wakes up, doesn't know who she is or where she is, and literally gets swept up in all this chaos and doesn't understand what's going on. And slowly throughout the movie, she's pretty much on a quest to understand who she is and who she was and whether that person is someone she wants to be.
força total! Vamos embora!
Contando com pouco orçamento, a produção precisou usar a criatividade para construir os cenários do filme. A ideia era trazer cenários novos, mas que mantivessem a ambientação dos jogos.
When we came to Berlin, there was this empty U-Bahn station underneath the Reichstag. As soon as we walked in and saw the space, it was just, I think, the best location anybody had ever seen. The train was quite a big number for us. It was actually pretty much the biggest thing we had to do on the film, not in terms of size, but just in terms of the amount of engineering that went into it and what it had to do. The tracks underneath here were too deep for the train, so we had to build the whole thing up about 2 or 3 feet and build about 200 or 300 meters of rostrum that were strong enough to hold a 12-ton train. There's a whole miniature unit that's back in London that has taken the designs from the train and has built our train exactly in miniature.
Again, the train is built to match the train in the movie on the set. Pieces have been taken off during the photography and pieces are taken off during the wreck, but it's an 8th scale train. The track started down there and came the whole 150 feet here, which in scale would have been 1,200 feet of a real train. It was driven by wires, by a drill. We had 2 drills. One was marked train, one was marked camera. And when the train takes off in the set, we cut to a shot here where it continues and goes into the tunnel. So it goes from real to fake.
Being in the specimen tanks and shooting the machine guns and hearing it echo through the corridors and walking around during break silently through these echoey dark and the smoke, and it's very, very eerie, very scary.
Because it's terrifying, it's claustrophobic, horrible. But to actually work up there, it's difficult. You know, not only do you have to get the actors up there, you have to get a camera crew up there, and then you have to light these tiny little spaces.
A couple of the sets, like the access tunnels, we had a very small camera track hidden up in the ceiling that was disguised to look like a lot of pipes that were already up there. And you could just run the camera on this fantastic little dolly up there along the top of the pipes.
Apesar de ser um filme de terror, a ação é algo muito presente nesta adaptação. E para realizar as cenas de luta contra os zumbis, os atores passaram por um intenso treinamento físico, comandado por um ex-oficial da Marinha.
We started out with the actors doing commando training, which is a military form of training, how to take over a building. We also taught them climbing, because throughout the movie they have to climb access tunnels. We did also martial arts with the actors, variation from Taekwondo and American Karate. I call it Hell Week. We gave them a Hell Week.
James tried to avoid teaching us the real moves, even the stunt moves that he was teaching us on, like how to crack bone.
What's important is you get this.
Okay.
And then crack.
Well, be shooting guns.
Now turn your head.
They shoot at you.
Actors like Mila, she had extensive martial arts, because if you see in the film, she's doing a lot of kicking butt on the undead.
That message will hold. Go, 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 go!
Oh, I loved it. I got to do one of my favorite things, which is shoot a gun.
Fantastic!
The diving was difficult, and the reason is because Anna Ball, the actress that we had to do this with, she never scuba dived before. Not only am I teaching her how to use scuba equipment, but in the film, she has to go under the water 3 meters, take the equipment off. She's weighted down with weights on a board so we can roll her to the screen. We have really a lot of great stunts in this film. We have explosions in this film. We have a lot of shooting people up, so there's a lot of squibbing. We have a lot of ratchet systems, falls, climbing, a lot of fighting. We had one stunt guy, he burned 20 times for a shot. In America, the stunt guys burn 4 times, and they'll say, okay, look, talk to our agent, you know. But the German stunt guy burned 20 times for a stunt. Eric, who's the main actor, he plays Matt in the film, burned in this film. He didn't pretend like he was burning, we burned his leg in the film. We lit him up, burned his leg, and you know, that's extensive for an actor to do. As well as the director of photography, we burned him too in this film.
Uma das cenas mais memoráveis do filme ocorre quando os personagens precisam passar por uma sala de lasers, um sistema de defesa que foi criado exclusivamente para o filme e que posteriormente fez o caminho inverso e foi levado para os jogos.
One of the defense mechanisms is a laser system. This laser system comes through and just exercises any living beings that are coming in.
There's a corridor that they go down that lasers come out and move all the way down the corridor. How do you do that without giving away the fact that there might be something in there? And, you know, do you have sort of big lines where the lasers pop through, or do you have holes where the lasers pop out? Nothing really kind of worked. Right. And Paul suddenly said, you know, the lasers should come through the walls. And I said, well, then they should be glass, shouldn't they?
Para criar o efeito do personagem sendo fatiado pelos lasers, a equipe construiu um boneco realista a partir do molde do ator, que depois foi segmentado em pequenas partes e montado novamente como se fosse um quebra-cabeças e posicionado em frente a uma tela verde.
This is where his face will fall apart in the foreground. You can see the background's a little out of focus, but the idea is that now this will go out of focus and the focus will go back to the background action. The idea with the head is that we have a foreground shot. So if you were the camera looking at me and I was in the foreground, in the background, over my right shoulder, over the actor's right shoulder, you'll see my face like this and you'll see a piece of it fall off.
1, 2, 3.
And then we had that full-scale model cubed and fall apart. And you see that happen. But rather than see it happen in miniature or see it happen digital, you see it effectively happen for real.
You can see all the green poles going in. Inside those sleeves are other sleeves. They're connected in the back end so that we can pull out different parts. The men can pull out different parts of the body so they can fall and we can film it all. But this will be in the background, his back part as a reflection. So even though we're looking at his face, in the background we'll see this reflection on the wall, so we have to choose the backside.
Algo que não poderia deixar de estar no filme eram os cachorros infectados, que são aparições recorrentes em todos os jogos da franquia. Para dar vida a essas criaturas, além de construir alguns bonecos, a produção contou com cães treinados, os quais foram maquiados com próteses para simular que estavam em decomposição.
The only one consistent creature that's been in every single one of the games are the zombie dogs. When people discovered I was making the movie, fans would always be the first question they asked. Are the dogs in the film? Are the dogs in the film? So it became obvious the dogs had to be in the film.
It's not like working with actors, because actors don't lick the makeup off their faces, and actors don't shake. And when you have a lot of congealed blood on top of your dog, it's going to be very interesting for the poor old props masters, I'm afraid, on set.
Oh, but I feel bad for the zombie dogs. No, you won't feel bad for the zombie dogs. They are so evil and just so lifeless.
O que é aquilo?
Os Lickers são seres humanos infectados com o T-Vírus e que sofreram novas transformações após terem se tornado zumbis. Eles receberam esse nome devido às suas enormes línguas. E para representar essas criaturas de forma aterrorizante, a equipe de produção utilizou uma combinação de efeitos práticos e digitais.
The creature is a licker. It's a form of liquor. It's been developed by the Umbrella Corporation by injecting the T-virus into living tissue. But it's unstable. And when the liquor begins to feed upon the DNA of another living being, it begins to mutate.
We actually built two main creatures. One was more gross movement for battering ram. He was quite heavy steel inside him, reinforced, and we could throw him at windows and doors.
It's all right.
There's a bloke inside, he's the rear portion, which gives him a lot of mobility. The second one was a much more controlled one, radio-controlled face, the jaw splits, the two teeth at the front come out, move around independently and together. The head is a much more controlled movement. The puppeteer at the back of the creature, every movement that he does is directly corresponds to the front end of the creature. So as he's performing, then the creature's performing.
Its brain popping out, and it's got crazy fangs of a dog, you know, just protruding out of its spotted gums. I mean, the detail on this creature is just amazing.
We can really predict the position, how far they can come out.
Wish that I would die like being gutted out alive by that creature because he's just so sick and morbid. I was like, God, if only I could have one of those on a leash.
With the best will in the world, you can't really animate animatronically a 4 to 6 foot length tongue.
Fabulous.
It's too big. Shouldn't it be skinnier and like razor sharp points, but like skinny and like a little whip?
Dispondo de um orçamento de 35 milhões de dólares, Resident Evil arrecadou cerca de 103 milhões de dólares mundialmente. E apesar das avaliações mistas que recebeu de crítica e público, seu ótimo retorno comercial justificou o início de uma franquia, que renderia ainda mais 5 filmes para a parceria entre o diretor Paul Anderson e sua esposa Mila Jovovich.
Eu já tô com saudade.
And to see me in a wet mini dress and a gun. I mean, come on. What more can you ask for from Resident Evil?
Se você gosta deste tipo de conteúdo, não esqueça de deixar seu like, se inscrever no canal e ativar as notificações. Nos vemos no próximo vídeo. Até mais!